O Lord, open my lips, and my mouth shall proclaim your praise. You created the day and the night, O God. You set the sun and the moon in their places. You set the limits of the earth. You made summer and winter. Amen. Good morning, and welcome to morning prayer. I've been thinking a lot recently about a word that I learned when I was in college. I was on the rugby team, and one of my teammates studied abroad in Germany, and she came back and she says, the best thing I learned was this word, Schmösebedürfnis. Schmösebedürfnis. It's a nice German compound word, and it means the need to cuddle. I just have been feeling this real sense of the absence of human touch, right, in all of our lives right now. I mean, I think back to my time on the rugby team, and it feels like a different world. You know, that's us together. Always we had our arms draped around each other like a bunch of puppies. And that kind of touch has all of a sudden just disappeared from the world that we live in. For people who live alone during this period of self-isolation, that can just feel achingly absent from daily life. Other people are experiencing this quite differently. For families with young children, it may feel as though it's all you can do. You're in this constant battle to keep your kids' hands off each other and all the things and you know, it might be a very different kind of relationship to touch right now. Touch is different with strangers. We can't establish rapport with a handshake. And for medical professionals, so much of whose healing depends on touch, the shortage of appropriate protective equipment is a real crisis right now. I've been thinking a lot about the Gospels, about how Jesus interacts with people. And it turns out that incarnation is all about the presence of touch and the divine reaching out to touch us through human hands. So much of Jesus' healing ministry took place through touch, you know. He laid hands on the blind, the paralyzed, the possessed, those afflicted with leprosy. He invited the little children to be brought to him, to be embraced for a blessing. And on the night before his death, he washed his disciples' feet. I've been thinking about that story. This is the story that we'll hear on Maundy Thursday. But it's from John chapter 13, verses 3 through 5. Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all these things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. There's such a tenderness in that story, such an act of care, of physical bodily care. I encourage you to pay attention to the needs of your own body, to be taking care of yourself physically during this time. That may look like practicing a little bit of yoga in the morning, or taking a hot bath, or sometimes I've found it helpful to just wrap myself in a blanket before I pray, to just feel myself to be held in this way. We're all doing without this really important human need right now in order to protect each other and keep each other safe. But pay attention to the needs of your body during this time. And pray for everyone whose work, whose vocation depends on touch. Pray for dentists and hairdressers. Pray for physical therapists and masseuses, even tailors, anybody whose work depends on human touch. Pray for them in this time as well. That's all for today. God be with you till we meet again. Amen.